In this panel, I shall begin to tease out the 10 items listed in the second Elo Devarim paragraph. These 10 items, as noted earlier, are listed in two locations. The first, the continuation of Perek Aleph Mishnah Aleph of Masechet Peah, and a second listing drawn from the Talmud Bavli and Midrashic sources. As noted previously, there is no explicit, clear-cut statement regarding the existence of an Olam Haba in the Chamisha Chumshei Torah. At best, there are code words that are interpreted and hint at a reward that one will receive in Olam Haba, which presupposes that there is an Olam Haba that, as its name implies, follows one's existence. In this, the Olam Hazeh. Where possible, I shall try to identify a textual basis for the statement of the Mishnah in Peah that one is Ochel Perotehem in Olam Hazeh and the Keren Kayemet is reserved for Olam Haba. First off is the mitzvah of Kibud of VeEim, loosely translated as honoring one's parents and by extension one's grandparents and possibly other members of one's family. The first instance of a requirement to honor one's parents is sourced in Sephardim Schmut, Perek Chaf, Pasuk Yud Bet, and comes as part of the Aseret HaDibrot, where the text states explicitly that one is obligated to kabed et avicha ve'et imecha, which is the command, followed by a statement that guarantees a reward for the fulfillment of this mitzvah. Leman yarichun yamecha, that one is offered a long life. Al ha'adama asher Hashem Elokecha notein lach. It should be noted that in general there are very few instances where the Torah articulates a reward for the fulfillment of a particular mitzvah. Mitzvat Kibud av VeEim is an exception to the rule. The Aseret HaDibrot are repeated in Sefer Devarim, where Moshe Rabino addresses the people in 3 separate speeches in the year 2488, in the final year of his life. Obviously, he is repeating the Aseret HaDibrot, but his retelling of the Aseret HaDibrot to the nation contains some nuanced changes. Once again, we have the command, Kabed et avicha ve'et imecha, and a reward, Leman yarichun yamecha, al ha'adama asher Hashem Elokecha notein lach, with one nuanced change that Moshe adds into the reward component of this mitzvah. That is, he adds 3 words, ulema'an yitav lach. Yitav with a tet vav bet shoresh, to do good, to be pleasant, to be glad, to be joyful, to be happy. In this context, to do good would be the translation of choice. A yud prefix, he or it will, in this case referring to the fulfillment of this mitzvah, and framed in the passive format, that it may go well with you, is the translation offered in the Chabad.org website. In the previous panel, I made reference to an essay on the topic of Olam Haba. In that essay, the author noted that all the Rishonim are in agreement that HaKadosh Baruch has included a belief in Olam Haba in the Torah, but that belief is only hinted at in the form of code words, and these code words are deciphered using the traditional methods of Medrash. An example of this process comes from how the Amoraim and later generations read into the nuanced difference between the wording of the Aseret HaDibrot in Sefer Shmot and the wording in Sefer Devarim. As noted, the wording in Shmot came directly from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The wording in Sefer Devarim came to the people from HaKadosh Baruch Hu through Moshe Rabino. And in the Moshe Rabino version, we have the extra 3 words, Olaman Yitav Lach. It is this nuanced change in the Devarim version of the Aseret HaDibrot that we have a code reference to a reward allocated in Olam Haba, which obviously presupposes the existence of an Olam Haba. But first, a digression into Talmud Bavli, Masechet Kedushin, Daf Mem Amud Aleph, where somewhere around 350 Common Era, Rava presented a difficulty to his mentor and teacher, Rav Nachman. In the words of the Gemara, Rami le Rava le Rav Nachman. There is a lengthy wind-up to the question, which is a problem that Rava has with the Mishnah of Elo Dvarim Sha'adam Oseh ve'ochel peroteim ba'olam hazeh v'hakeren kayemet lo la'olam haba. Im Yirtzeh Hashem, I shall look at the actual problem in a future panel. As part of the wind-up to his question, he quotes the Mishnah, the Elo Dvarim Perek of the Tefillah under discussion, and makes reference to the first item, the mitzvah of Kibud av VeEim, and notes that there is a double reward recorded in the text. In the words of Rava, the Kibud av VeEim Ketiv, with respect to the mitzvah of Kibud av VeEim, we have the two rewards, Leman Yarichon Yamecha, or Leman Yitav Lach. It is left to Rashi to fill in the missing information, where he writes, Yarichon Yamecha, your days will be lengthened, refers to La'olam Haba, and the Yitav Lach, B'chayecha, throughout your present life, in, by implication, Olam Hazeh. The Kahati, commentary to the Mishnayot, in attempting to provide a textual basis for the two-pronged reward for the fulfillment of the mitzvah of Kibud av VeEim, 1. The Ochel Perotehim in Olam Hazeh, and 2. The Keren Kayemet L'Olam Haba, points us to Devarim Perek 5 Pasuk Tet-Vav, the Aseret HaDibrot, to the words Leman Yarichun Yamecha or Leman Yitav Lach, but that information is underpinned by the Gemara in Masechet Kedushin and Rashi's commentary to the statement made by Rava in his presentation of a challenge to the Mishnah of Elo Dvarim. According to the Kahati, quoting Rashi, Devarim 5:16, via the nuanced chain that Moshe Rabino makes with his presentation of the Aseret HaDibrot when contrasted to the original version in Sephardim Schmut, provides us with a code remez to both a reward in Olam Hazeh and one in Olam Haba.